Okay. What up, y'all? It's your boy Mims, and some of y'all know me as Mr. This and Why I'm Hot, Mr. Like This, Mr. Music is my savior, aka your girl's favorite MC. I done toured all over the country, coming straight out of New York City. I done been all the way from Japan to Europe to South America and back again a couple times. So we just here having some fun right now, holding it down with my peoples. Radio Top 40, the SoundScan Mix Show, and we're doing it like that. To describe my style in my own words, I think the best word that fits the description for me is versatility. I like being able to do different things with music. I don't like to limit myself or pigeonhole myself into a certain category or criteria. When I get in the studio to make music, I'm doing just that. I'm making music. It's almost like painting on a picture. You know, artists, you know, they got artists out there that'll paint only clowns and only colorful paintings. But I don't want to be known as just a colorful painting artist. I want to be able to paint portraits. I want to be able to paint abstract art. I want to be able to do, you know, murals. I want to be able to do everything. So when I get into a studio and a musical mind frame, there's no limitations. As a matter of fact, I use that to set the boundaries for my style, because I want to be able to always reach outside the box. If I feel like I get in the studio and I can't reach outside the box, then I'm not doing my job as an MC. If I can't deliver a different record that people have never heard before, or a different style that's new to the game, then I feel like I'm limiting myself and I'm disappointing my fans. So the best word to describe me, honestly, in my opinion, is versatility. I know I'm pretty new on the scene, and you know, people have only heard a certain amount of records from me. But you know, hopefully, futuristically, I'll be able to hit them with a bunch of different styles and different records, so they can see how versatile I really am as an artist. I think my style and my sound for the record "This Is Why I'm Hot" was different to New York. So obviously, when something is different, people tend to kind of listen a little bit harder and try to find the flaws and try to find the negative side of things. But then there are some optimistic people who are going to take it and say, you know what, I know where he's coming from, I know what he's trying to do, and basically what he's just trying to do is show a different side and a different style to New York City. So there's some people, like anything, that respected it, and then obviously there's some people that you know, listen to it and say, well, this is not hip hop or this is not New York. Either which way you look at it, I think success-wise, you know, you gotta kind of accept the different sides of people's opinions. Actually, I'm currently in the studio working on my second album right now. You know, a lot of times artists come in the game and they get jaded by how much money they could be making touring. And previous to my first album, I was pretty much on the road for about 2 years. So for me, I decided to pull myself off the road for a couple of months just to get in the studio and be able to work on album number 2 and concentrate on making an album, instead of making an album while I'm on the road and not really concentrating on the music. I wanted to be able to focus on what got me here in the first place, and whether it would have taken me 2 years or 200 years or 2 months to make it, I still felt it necessary to go out there and record something that I could sit down and say, man, I put my time and effort into it. So I'm currently right now actually recording the second album. I'm looking for a title. I mean, somebody
to tell us the title?
Huh?
Not able to tell us the title?
No, I would if I was able to. You know what? My title has really, to me, I'm not far enough into my album to figure out what I want to call it. Right now, I'm doing songs based on my emotions. I'm doing things based on how I feel. So for me to have to put a title on it, I could name it something now, and then, you know, 6, 7 songs later, it's not in that same direction. So I'd rather wait till I'm at least 50, 60% done with the album, and then figure out what a strong title could be, and finish up the rest of the album at that point. Nah, don't yet. I mean, I'm waiting. I have some prospects for who I want to work with. I know that I'm looking to work with the Neptunes this time around. I also want to work with a new artist, Keisha Cole. I think she's doing wonderful things for the R&B world. And I'm also looking to work with a lot of different acts. Like, I'm in the studio now working with this alternative artist based out of Italy. His name is KVN. I'm working with him on a lot of records on the album to add that alternative sound to my album. There's a new artist out of Canada, his name is Colin Monroe, and I'm also working, with him on some records. So, it's going to be a lot of artists you hear that are big, and then there's also going to be a lot of artists from the up and coming stage that are going to be on this project. Like, I guess it depends on the mood of how I feel as an artist. 75% of this album that I'm doing is probably going to be done in studio, working with different producers at that actual time. I say 25% I give to kind of reaching out to different producers all across the world that I'll be planning to work with, that I may not be able to get in the studio at the time of recording. But for the most part, I want to be able to work with a lot of producers on hand and make sure that when they create a record, it has a Mims feeling to it, as opposed to, well, I made this record for Jay-Z, but you can have it. Like, I don't want that on this album. I want records to originate with Mims, unless it's just the craziest beat in the world, and there's a lot of producers out there that got crazy music. But for this album, I want more of a personal feel with the people I'm working with. I say 50-50, 50% of the time. I mean, I don't want to take away from the creative side of a producer, because a lot of producers are good enough to kind of bring ideas to the table. So for me, it's like, if I feel a way, like, I got a record on the album called Therapy, and I woke up one night and I said, you know what, I want to do a record about being, like, something that's therapeutic. Like, music is therapeutic to me. So I called the artist that I know, and I said, put something together on the therapy side, and they came back with a record for that. So for me, doing it that way, I have a little bit more input and a little bit more foresight on what I want to do. If somebody brings a record to me and says, Mims, you should do this record, this is the concept, I'm always willing to listen to it. I just feel like I still want to be a part of the creative process. Because there's a difference between being a typewriter and an author. Anybody can type and make words. There's a person who creates it, and that's the person who I feel gets a lot of the credit for what, how music is created.
I appreciate it. The radio station people here too.
Okay.
I told them that you had to speak.
Okay, cool.
Dope. That's what's up.
That's
Yes,
good.
sir. Look at the count. Thank you very much.
Yeah, number one all the time.